We teach children that lying is wrong and should be avoided. We praise them when they can honestly admit that they have made a mistake. We drill into their heads that the greatest value in a person is to have honesty. We then learn from our children that we are fat, the dinner is distasteful, and the grandmother smells bad. We do not know how to react to this, as all the words they are saying are truthful. Why are children painfully honest? Can a child be taught tact and intuition? I invite you to watch. Unfortunately, the world of adults is far from the truth. If someone asked you if they look fat in their trousers, would you say yes, even if it were true? Never would you do this. The world of adults is full of white lies, which is deliberately uttering untruths, but with good intentions. A white lie is not intended to harm the person being lied to. On the contrary, the purpose of the deceiver is often to help the person who is being misled. The reality of adults is full of understatements and concealed situations. Honesty is only theoretically a valued virtue. This is for a simple reason. Imagine a world where everyone would only tell themselves the truth. Imagine a corporate meeting where people are 100% honest and take off their masks of false courtesy. The boss would hear real opinions about himself from his subordinates, and colleagues would find out what they really think about each other. I guarantee you their next meeting will never happen. A world in which people would say straight off the bat what they think, what is on their mind, what they actually want to say, what should not be said. It would not be a very friendly place. Unfortunately, it is often much better to keep silent about certain matters than to express your true opinion about them. Everyone who has said too much at least once in their life knows it, or the contrary, heard something that left a large wound in their psyche. The world of children is completely different. They are honest about their conversations with each other and openly tell what's on their mind. They say what they think and see nothing wrong with it. Why should the facts become blurred with time? So that the parents do not worry and the friend is satisfied with their choice in the clothing store. During their life in society, children, as careful observers, learn what consequences their words can cause. Children acquire this skill, called tact and intuition, slowly over the years. Grown-ups know very well that you should keep some thoughts and honest opinions to yourself. However, no one was born with this knowledge. Everyone acquired it differently, maybe by trial and error, or maybe someone listed the topics that are better never to be mentioned. Childlike honesty comes from the inability to filter out words and thoughts, the inability to distinguish between what is right and what is wrong. Every young person has to learn these social competences. Most often, this is done by trial and error. The child checks the limits, what they are allowed to say, and what is not necessary, and what are the reaction of adults. This method seems to be quite constructive, although the resulting situations can be very embarrassing for the parents. Because how do you behave in the store when your child asks aloud, "Why is your saleswoman so fat?" Here are some tips on how to respond to children's honest statements to help them learn tact and sensitivity. Number 1. Explain to your child. This is the most effective method, but at the same time, it is very demanding. It requires spending many hours analyzing the child's behavior and spoken communication. You will probably have to mention some things more than once. Explain to your child that words can sometimes hurt, and hurt more than a cut on the forehead or a bruise on the knee. Therefore, it is worth being careful what you say and to whom. In order for all people in the world to live better, it is necessary to express out loud what we think about others positively and leave the rest of our thoughts to ourselves. Here's another lesson. your child must discover that not everything they think has to be put into words at once. On the contrary, most of their thoughts should be retained, and only the filtered part should be spoken out loud. Younger children tend to say words at the speed of a machine gun. They need to slowly learn that not everything is worth saying aloud. These skills require a lot of practice. One conversation is not enough here. Learning tact and feel is arduous and includes many years of work with the child. Number 2, keep calm. It is hard to talk about being calm when your child insults a saleswoman in a store saying she's ugly or calling an old woman a hag. However, your reaction is very important in these kind of situations. Don't make this a big event. Don't shout, scold, or silence the child. Even if the situation is actually funny, try to be serious. A child who sees that they have managed to make their mother laugh with such behavior will certainly want to repeat it. Shouting and silencing, in turn, have quite the opposite effect. Your little one, who has probably recently learned to speak, may close in on themselves and be traumatized before speaking. Keep your cool, apologize on behalf of the child, and then calmly explain to the child why they should not comment on someone else's appearance or behavior aloud. You should then suggest that they apologize. Number 3, teach your child to apologize. Anyone can have a blunder, even tactful adults. Surely you've caught yourself more than once after you said one word too many. However, nothing is irreversible. Show it to your child too. The moment your child has a slip-up, openly apologize for their behavior. Don't ignore it, or worse, make a joke about it, as mentioned before. You may be wondering if it is acceptable for you to apologize for your child's actions. Well, you are fully responsible for everything that your child says and does. So you must also mitigate the harm caused by your child. After the incident, always talk to your child about why this should not happen. Say that the next time, if they happen to say the wrong thing, remember to apologize. At the beginning, the child will not distinguish between what is appropriate and what is not appropriate to speak out loud. Therefore, there are many more situations which arise. Each one should end with an apology and calmly explain to the child what they should do next time. It is not worth forcing on a child the principle, "Please apologize to this lady immediately." The child needs to know what they are apologizing for. Otherwise, they may feel unnecessarily guilty. For example, "What you've said made that lady sad. It is rude to say that. You should apologize." Analyze one day of your life. How many times have you commented on other people's appearance, clothing, or behavior in a not necessarily flattering way? Have you ever done it in the presence of your child? Well, children most often imitate and recreate what adults say. So everything your child says, they have heard from someone. It was most likely spoken from your mouth. Only a child does not know exactly how to use these words and in what situations they can use them. Although adults know that it is not necessarily worth discussing someone else's appearance in the presence of the person in question. It is natural for your child to ask that person directly. When requiring certain standards from your child, remember that someone has to learn the standards and get used to them. In theory, they spend most of the time with their parents. So it is important to make sure that your statements and behavior are impeccable and lead by example. Number 5, don't forbid your child from asking. It is completely natural for your child to be curious about the world. Young children do not know why an elderly person has wrinkles, why the gentleman does not have a leg, and why the grandmother has a big wart on her nose. When asked aloud, these questions do not sound very flattering or kind. However, they result from a child's pure curiosity about the world. Those who do not ask will never learn. Do not forbid your child from asking from things they find interesting about other people. Let them know, however, that if they want to ask something in the presence of the person concerned, make sure to ask you discreetly first. You can then evaluate if it is appropriate. Ensure, if it is not, that you explain the whole situation fully when you leave the store or the bus. But don't throw your child's confidence off, and don't forget to satisfy their curiosity. Number 6. Do not get offended. The honest confessions of children also often apply to their parents. Don't be offended when compared or criticized. Don't worry when you hear that you resemble their favorite fairy tale character, Scooby-Doo. Be sure to thank them for the compliment. Don't be angry with your child for saying what they honestly mean. Also, ask others to not hold it against them. Sometimes older siblings or grandparents may feel particularly affected. However, ensure to be consistent and work with the child using all 6 points every day, and it will be much faster and easier for them to acclimatize to the adult world. In fact, the average adult lies up to 11 times a week. Childish honesty can be brutal, that's a fact. However, if we look at it from a different angle, we can see a lot of advantages and certain charm in it. Children tend to be more reliable than adults. You don't know if you look good in these trousers? Do not ask your spouse, because he will surely cover the uncomfortable fact somehow. Do you want to find out the truth? Ask your child.